All right, welcome, guys. Happy to have you for our first AMA. Here, I guess I'll go over the agenda first. So, before I actually answer the AMA questions, I want to go over a couple things. First of which is the OG rule. I haven't explained what OG even does. Then we're gonna go over the purge, the NFT launch, the gold token, and some adjustments that we made. And then I'm gonna answer the questions that people have written down, and then I'm gonna do an open Q&A session, and then that's it. Then we enjoy our New Year's.
Sounds good, Chief.
All right, so as you guys saw, a lot of people joined the first day that we opened up the Discord, and I think you'd probably tell that most of those people are farmers because I mentioned OG on the Twitter. About 3,500 people joined in the first day, which I would expect that the vast majority of those are farmers. So that's too many people to have for OG because what OG is, or what it was meant to be, is the whitelist for our Genesis NFT. So what we're going to end up doing is purging most of those. Well, they'll keep the OG rule because, technically if you join in the first day, I can't say you're not OG, right? But there's going to be a new role called the worthy. And to get the worthy, you have to already be OG. But then we're also going to verify, and this isn't perfect, but we're going to verify that you're a real person and you're not like running botted Twitter accounts or Discord accounts. So, sometime during the next week, we'll announce when this begins, and it will probably last for about a week. You'll link your Twitter to your Discord. Your Twitter account must have existed for 6 months. It must follow Gyre, and then it must post a tweet about Gyre. And so, that does two things for us. That allows us to see that you're most likely a real person, so you're actually interested in Gyre. But then it also allows us to kind of begin spreading the word in anticipation of the first story mode level being released in the beginning of February. Yeah, so for the NFT, if you're worthy, that means that the first day that it's minting, you have a guaranteed spot. So you'll have the opportunity to buy 2 tokens, and then, nothing happens if you don't claim your spot. The unfilled spots, they roll over to the next day. And so people that have OG will still be allowed to mint on the second day on a first come, first served basis. And then, if those don't actually fill on the second day, then it opens to the public until it fills. All right, so you're probably wondering, what is the NFT? Why do I care, right? The first NFT is going to be our like quote unquote Genesis, right? We're not calling it the Genesis NFT really, but many projects have a Genesis NFT that gives some utility to the first purchasers of that, and ours is similar to that. Right now, the plan is for the Genesis NFT to give welcome. The NFT will give a slight XP boost. It's permanent. And then the NFT will also grant you 1 cosmetic item at a later date. So it'll be random. There will probably be about 15 to 20 cosmetics that you could get. And by holding the Genesis NFT, you'll get that once we have those ready. So, this collection will be 1,000 items, priced at 0.1 ETH each. And yeah, like I said, so if you have the worthy role, you'll have a guaranteed spot. And then the next day, if you have OG and you didn't get worthy, you'll still have a spot as long as there's tokens left after the first day. So that's all we have for you right now with the NFT. Next thing is the gold token. So we've gotten a lot of questions about the gold token specifically. I think mostly questions about how it will be balanced because it's inflationary. So the reason that gold is inflationary is that as a player base expands, you don't really want people to be priced out. The point is the game, not to make your bags pump. That said, there will definitely be ways for people to speculate with gold and with other tokens But for the game to remain accessible over the course of its lifespan, there needs to be some inflation rate, and we have to have pretty good control over what that is. Based on the influx of new people playing as well as people leaving, right? So, the plan right now for gold is that it kind of follows the typical play to earn pattern, but there's some important differences. People can earn XP for taking various social actions. Things like posting tweets or writing threads will earn you XP. But, of course, most importantly, playing the game will earn you XP. XP every few weeks, or sorry, XP is earned over the course of epochs that last a couple of weeks, and then at the end of the epoch is when you can redeem your XP. Right now, the plan is just for XP to be redeemable into gold, but the reason we're doing it this way is because XP will have other redemption options in the future. Otherwise, I mean, you would just earn gold, right? Yeah, so the function of gold is the primary game token, and you can use it in game in a lot of ways. Some examples would be, paying for cosmetics, buying items. There's some quest objects that you need to buy with gold. Different services in game, different things you can do. An example might be a speed boost in the story mode. So if you feel like it, you can kind of change your playstyle with gold. And then, another important function of gold will be the ability to wager with it in PvP matches once competitive PvP opens up. Yeah, so the current epoch length is 2 weeks right now. That might be subject to change, but for now, that's what makes sense. I could see in the future that it ends up being reduced, so you get gold, or you have the option to get gold on a weekly basis versus the 2 week epoch. And then, so if you guys looked at the docs when they first opened, and I've also made note of this a few times, we were talking about the Gyre token as a maximum supply cap governance token, and we've since removed that. We had some concerns about doing a dual token model right now, and I think a lot of the critiques made sense to me. So until the governance system is more thought out, then there's no Gyre token for right now. That might change in the future, but that's how it is for now. Here, I'll just briefly, I'm briefly going to run over the current roadmap, and then I'll answer the AMA questions that people dropped in the channel, and then I'm going to, allow all of you guys to talk. So we could do an open AMA session. Okay, so right now, starting from today, we're kind of beginning to actually market in anticipation of the first level coming out. We want some eyes on for when that opens, and we expect that it will speak for itself once it comes out. We're putting a lot of care into it. It's going to be a lot of fun. We have a lot of inspirations for the actual game, and I wish I could have shared more with you guys so far, but I think it makes sense to keep it under wraps for right now. So once we launch the game, we're going to give people a couple of weeks to play it, start accumulating XP. The first period where you can accumulate XP will last about a month instead of the usual 2 week epoch, and then it will roll into the 2 week epoch from there. So probably about 2 weeks after the first level launches is when we're going to actually do the NFT sale of the Genesis NFT. That's when people that have OG and the Worthy will be able to mint it. And then we're expecting that about a month after is when people will be able to claim their cosmetics from the NFT sale. Yeah, so the plan with the game right now is to launch the first story level, get people playing it, get some feedback, make some changes that people want to see, launch the second one, and all the while we're working on the alpha of the PvP mode. And then, shortly after the second one launches, then we drop the casual mode. And at that point, the main goal is to get people playtesting the casual PvP. People have had the opportunity at that point to try story mode out, give us feedback there. The playstyles between the two are going to be different, but the mechanics are the same. So in both story mode and PvP, you'll have melee and ranged combat. Range combat is magic, and you'll have a kind of a wide array of different spells that you can use to do different things. So some are just pure damage, other ones might be buffs or debuffs. And then you'll have energy that is a shared resource between both, and it regenerates quickly. But if you burn through all of it really quick, you're going to be disabled for a sec. Both modes will have building, so you can change the environment around you, add things like traps and turrets, and then some limited environment destruction. So it's not Minecraft. You're not going to be able to destroy the whole map, but there'll be some things that, maybe weak walls that you could destroy, crates, things like that. So the environment will be fairly interactive. So as far as marketing goes, we're bringing on a few people. Part of the reason that we're doing the NFT launch so soon is that we are a small bootstrap company. Right now, the main developers are just me and Alan, and we definitely need to bring on some people for marketing. I have contacts, but we just need to raise some funds first. We don't want to go the VC route because we've seen how that's played out just way too many times. VCs offer pretty predatory conditions in most cases, and then what they get in exchange is these like ridiculous deals on tokens, and then they just dump. So if you intend to build a project long term as we do, then the VC route is not necessarily the right way to go. So for the time being, we intend to be bootstrapped, just as we have been. Winning the Beam hackathon was great for us. It allowed us to actually start paying people a little bit. Bought me and Alan some time to actually focus more on development, which has been great. I have a branding guy that's going to come on pretty soon. He's going to get started for free, and then I'm just going to pay him later. So, be on the lookout for a new Discord icon. Things are going to start looking different. Twitter different, etc. Website coming out soon. I'm going to be dropping the website before the game, probably by only a few days, not super early, but just so people get the opportunity to read more as I compile more reading material, share more previews, but as well as like creating their account. We want to make sure the account system is all working properly before we actually launch the game, so we can have a successful launch. For the time being, that's all I really want to share. Roadmap wise, so we're gonna move on to the AMA questions, and then it will be the open session. Okay, so first question: do we have any plan for NFT your token together with the game? Yes, as mentioned, there's going to be many NFTs in the future, most being cosmetics, some being items. The first NFT will be special, and then it's limited edition and provides benefit to people that hold it. And that's not something that we plan on having for too long in the future, or we don't plan on doing other NFTs that benefit you to the same extent, because it's kind of unbalanced. We definitely want to avoid that as much as possible. Everyone hates when games are pay to win. That's just not fun at all. I can't think of a game that features pay to win elements that is really fun. And if games like that want to succeed, they always have to change it anyways. Yeah, so the gold token, like I said before, we only have plans for that now. The Gyre token is currently no more. Yeah, that should answer that. So, what is the purpose of gold and Gyre token? Just went over that. Which blockchain will the project launch on? So right now, Gyre is launching on Beam. And the reason that we chose Beam is because they have this great tooling called the Beam SDK, which allows for some account abstraction, which is something that we had intended to build in the future anyways if it didn't already exist. So what that means is that people will be able to create a Gyre account that are not crypto native, and it will still work with all the crypto behind the scenes. So an example is you could create an account with your Twitter account or your Google account in the future, and Beam manages like a smart contract for you behind the scenes that can hold your tokens. So you might create an account with your Twitter, and then in the future when you want to move your NFTs or your gold tokens off of your account, you can just specify a new account and send them there. What that also means is that while technically we exist just on Beam, you can access Gyre from, say, a Solana account. So you could sign in with your Phantom wallet or some other Solana wallet. Same goes for Cosmos. There's a lot of options here. So, technically we're just on Beam, but in practice it feels like we're multi-chain. Okay. Next question. How will we be earning XP in the demo, and what can we use it for? So XP will be earned through a mix of game actions as well as social actions. Initially it'll be redeemable for gold, but then we'll have more options in the future. Let's see, favorite games. My favorite game of all time has got to be Halo. I felt like Halo was really, really strong when it came out. It did something really special. Its campaign was great, all of them, except I actually don't consider Halo 4 and onward to be a part of the Halo series. I know that's not, of course they are Halo games, but I mean they were so shit compared to the other ones. So when I'm talking about Halo, I'm not talking about those. I feel like Halo took its campaign very seriously. It had a really, really great story for a lot of reasons. I feel like it's very, very. I think it was very carefully planned. It felt like they were actually telling a story. It didn't feel like filler at all. I was really interested in the way that things would go the entire time that I was playing. Damn, it's a lot of you guys now. Yeah, I mean, Halo had a fantastic campaign. Graphics were great for the time. Super cool art style. Weapons were amazing. And then it had a really awesome multiplayer. Halo multiplayer is definitely one of my favorite childhood memories in general. My next favorite game is RuneScape for a lot of reasons. When I started playing RuneScape, I was still really young, so I actually didn't get very far into it because I didn't really know like what was actually going on. My favorite thing with RuneScape to do was just explore, honestly. The map was so huge. There's so many different NPCs you could talk to, quest lines, stories. It was just so much great content. And I also loved the sense of humor that the RuneScape devs had. So cheeky and British. Like, it was so fucking funny. We take a lot of inspiration economics wise for Gyre from RuneScape. The Grand Exchange was great when it came out. They did a pretty good job balancing the economics of RuneScape. Of course, no one's going to do it perfectly every time, but that's one feature that we take a lot of inspiration from. I think something that I liked about RuneScape as well, and this is another inspiration, is that it was just so charming in a lot of ways. And there's so many different kinds of characters, and most of them felt very different from each other. I think it's really common for games to kind of nail a theme, but they almost make everything too in line with that theme, where it all kind of starts to feel the same. So you might have a lot of content for a game, but then it just kind of melts into this like bland mush where everything is you're used to it all. There's nothing new for you to explore, even though you've only been through a fifth of the game. It's just not interesting anymore. Let's see. I actually have a lot of games that I really love, but I'll just finish this off with Dark Souls. So I actually only played Dark Souls recently, but it was one of my favorite games so far. It was, Dark Souls is difficult to get started with. It's fun to play the entire time, even when it's difficult. And then it's got a pretty high skill cap for how good you can be at avoiding taking damage, timing your swings, aiming your swings. I'm assuming melee. I mostly just play melee. It had a really unique approach to telling its own stories. It didn't reveal too much to you they didn't spell it out for you. You had to pick up on things through very brief interactions with different NPCs. And a lot of the story was told through items, which is really interesting to me. So item descriptions were one way that wait, sorry, one sec. Yeah, I mean, Dark Souls told a lot of its story through item names, at least for the first game. Had some select cutscenes that were really cool and really needed. And then you kind of picked up on a lot of things from the environment as well. And I really liked the way that as you progress through the game, yeah, I know this is not unique to Dark Souls at all, but I feel like they had a really fun system of choices in the game that you could make, leading to different outcomes. It wasn't like too heavy. Anything that you did would end up being fun still. Whereas like honestly, some games you feel kind of paralysis around making decisions. Okay. And then the Dark Souls multiplayer, it wasn't really a highlight of it for me, but it is fun. Okay. Will the project be cross-chain? Yeah, like I said before, I'll just repeat myself real quick. Technically, no, but it will feel like it because you can use other chains' wallets for sign-in. What's the game/games? So Gyre is like a 2D platforming kind of game, and I hesitate to say platformer, um, because of what you might think of with the typical platformer. But I guess technically it is a platforming game. It's pretty simple, but we intend for the mechanics to have a pretty high skill cap, because we believe that, or at least in our experience playing games, growing up and now, um, games that are quick to pick up and easy to learn in the first place are fun and attract a lot of people. But then you really stay for games that have a high skill cap, something that you can pour time into and really get better at. And that's very rewarding when games are like that. An example of a game that's like that would be Fortnite. Funnily enough, you know, you have a lot of different people that play Fortnite, and it's still a very popular game. But what really made Fortnite blow up was building, because their building is unique, where it's this balance of being able to build structures really quickly. Other building games don't have that same element where you could build in Minecraft, but building in Minecraft isn't fantastic for PvP. You can definitely use it still, but it's not the same because blocks are so small. You have to place a bunch, and building is too complex. Whereas like Fortnite takes that and makes it a lot simpler, but it still has this really high skill cap. And if you really get really quick at it, and you kind of get these patterns down, you can do some really cool shit. Where was this? Oh yeah, so I mean that's something that actually inspires the building mechanic in Gyre. It's not going to be the same as Fortnite building, of course, but we kind of looked at what makes building in Fortnite great and are trying to do something similar in Gyre so that you can use building really effectively in combat, whether in the story mode or in PvP. We also made melee really high damage. Like if you can get within range of someone and hit them, you're gonna do most of their health in one hit. But at the same time, the counter to that is magic. Magic is lower damage overall by a lot, and it takes a lot of energy. So you really have to balance your like kiting skills and be very good at hitting your target. Magic also, like I said before, is not just damage spells, but then also buffs, debuffs, and movement. So, someone's walking up to you trying to hit you with melee. You have ways to kite around, but you need to balance your energy really properly to actually stay out of range. And then, like, if you're playing melee, you've got to kind of switch back and forth to make use of the movement that magic skills offer as well. Okay, will the token be available on Beam or other networks too? Just Beam for right now. I can't see any reason in the near future to offer it on other chains. We might have a bridge just so you can use it on other chains, but there's not really a point. So for right now, no, just Beam. Okay. Given the emphasis on tokenomics and the continuous distribution of gold, how does Gyre plan to maintain a healthy in-game economy without falling into hyperinflationary pitfalls, especially with a token like gold that has no maximum supply? Yeah, so I mean that's a really important concern. Balancing game economies is hard, and it's something that we're taking very seriously. So there's going to be a lot of controls that we have um, over the gold token that kind of allow us to reduce emission, increase burn, and that allows us to kind of target inflation rates. And our inflation rates are going to vary based on, how many people are playing each day, how many people are coming in, and the rate at which they're coming in. Okay, next question. Will there be NPCs and enemies populating the PvP mode? Yes. So in casual play, you'll have the option to play against a bot. You're welcome. You'll have the option to play against a bot to kind of practice. I can't say how good it will be for right now. That's something that kind of takes a lot of time to master. And we kind of have to see how people play the game right now as well to kind of learn how the bots should play. We have our own ideas for how to play the game and we're designing it in a certain way, but just like all games, people take the rules that you've created and they kind of do other things than you would expect. So yeah, there will be NPCs. We have a few ideas for different modes that are kind of. Oh, see you, Bilby. Enjoy your New Year's Eve. Happy New Year's. Yeah, so we have some ideas for different modes, but those are lower priority. We just want to get out the story mode and then the base PvP modes, and then casual or competitive after it's well tested enough. And then we'll start exploring these other kinds of game modes. Let's see. How far away is the story mode co-op in the roadmap? It's not terribly far away. We're just starting single player, but we expect to have co-op pretty shortly after launching casual PvP. We see PvP as being the main reason to play Gyre. Story mode is important, but I guess it's kind of a bonus, and it's kind of born out of our love for quality campaigns and recognizing that the story is something that's important in engaging people. But yeah, I mean, pretty soon. When will the mint be? So, for everyone new joining, the Genesis NFT mint will be probably, about 2 or 3 weeks after we launch the first story mode level. So people have the chance to play the game, see the website, talk with us more, see our updated branding, kind of get to understand the vision more, because I understand that right now we don't have a lot of information out. And then, people can make the decision on if they want to buy the Genesis NFT or not. Next one. Should we expect a bad gameplay experience if we have a high ping, since servers will be exclusively US based? I mean, so we're open to selecting different server regions depending on where our users are coming from in the first place. Tentatively, it's just starting out in the US, but if there's enough demand, we'll of course expand other regions. It's not like a huge deal, but we just don't want to fracture the player base right now. We don't want to have 10 different regional servers and we have 10, 20 players on each server. It makes more sense to have 1 or 2 servers right now, have everyone play on that. We're designing the game so that high latency doesn't impact your play experience too badly. It's a given that it, of course, will impact it. This is not a turn-based game, so we can't fully compensate for high latency, but it should feel pretty smooth. How do you envision the role of the community in shaping the in-game economy and influencing the value of gold tokens? Do you have any plans for community-driven initiatives, voting mechanisms, or other ways for players to actively participate in the economic aspects of Gyre? Great question. So this is not like directly related to gold. It is indirectly related to gold, but in the future, and I'm not sure when this would be. It's hard for me to say, but we want to have UGC be an important part of our strategy for expanding the game. And so that means that people will be able to create new cosmetics and items and kind of expand the economy of Gyre outside of us. We do intend to have a some kind of voting mechanism and some kind of filter to ensure that only high quality content is coming in. The details of that aren't fleshed out for everyone that's joined kind of recently. I mentioned before that we had plans for a Gyre governance token, but after getting some feedback, we've since removed it because dual token models are kind of rough. I think it's likely that we'll end up using gold for a lot of different purposes, one of which will be voting. And I kind of expect that voting will be weighted in different ways. So, it's not just going to be can you buy a whole bunch of gold, buy 10% of the supply of gold, and then vote out everyone else. No. So your vote will be weighted by things like overall account XP, for example. And I'm not saying that this is definitely a utility, but earlier NFTs from Gyre might hold different voting weight or might influence the weight of your vote because it kind of indicates that you're someone that caught on to us early and got involved in the project early. You were like genuinely interested, and you've done things to influence the direction of Gyre already. So to me, it makes sense that in the future, voting would be weighted that way. Let me skim that question again real quick. I don't feel like I answered it fully. Yeah, so something that we are definitely trying to be aware of is how people are using gold versus how we intended for them to use it, and kind of adjusting how we act around gold and the controls that we have around gold to better support the way that people want to use the token. What I see time and time again from a lot of games is players play the game in a way that the game studio or the game maker didn't intend and doesn't want them to play it. Um, and so they kind of try and make changes to force players into some kind of behaviors, and it's just not fun. The reason people aren't playing the game the way that you wanted them to is because your idea isn't actually as fun as their idea, and so you kind of have to work with that. Can you share a bit about the main thing that makes Skyr unique? What do you think will be the most exciting aspect for players diving into the game for the first time? This is similar to another question I got, so I'm going to lump it in with my answer for this one. This is one that I actually wrote out because I kind of had a long answer. Let's see. Gyre is inspired by many of the games I played when I was younger, namely Realm of the Mad God, RuneScape, and Fortnite. Those games have made a lasting impression on me, and my intention with Gyre is to create another game that's loved like each of those. The first two, Realm of the Mad God and RuneScape, still have very dedicated communities that love and play them, despite being quite far past their peaks. And Fortnite, of course, is still a beast in gaming. Each of these games contain unique and timeless elements that make for great gameplay that doesn't get old. Realm of the Mad God is interesting. It was a small indie game that never saw the same success as the other two, but to this day still has a very dedicated player base. A lot of the people that play Realm of the Mad God today have been playing it for maybe between 6 and 8 years, 6 and 7 years, and that's something that we really want to cultivate. Most of our influences are games like those that people are just crazy about, including us. A large portion of Realm of the Mad God's newer content now is actually designed by some of its original most dedicated players who cared so much that they spent a lot of time creating new um, ideas for content and fully fleshing it out in the game forum. When I was still in school and I used to play Realm, there were all these dungeons and monsters and bosses that people came up with, and I mean they did the whole thing, right? They designed all the mechanics, um, all the textures. They did all the art. Like this was, these were like pretty much exact specs of full new feature. And luckily the game studio that ended up purchasing Realm of the Mad God um, made great use of the content that people created for the game and actually implemented a lot of it. So that's something that we take a lot of inspiration from and really hope to have a good system for one day so that people can contribute to a game that they love. Yeah, Gyre's designed around the idea the games are supposed to be fun before anything else. That sounds really obvious and really simple, and it is. But if you guys are kind of tuned into gaming, into the wider gaming industry, you would know that that's not the case in a lot of games. The main point of a lot of games now is just to get people hyped up leading up to the game. Technically, do what they were supposed to. Most of their budget gets blown on marketing. Either get people to make that initial purchase, or use really deceptive marketing techniques to persuade people to buy skins, loot crates, battle passes, etc., and then move on to the next project instead of supporting the original game. So, of course, as any company is, we're definitely profit aligned, but that's not our main goal, right? We're not this huge monolithic VC backed studio or fund backed studio that needs to maximize shareholder value or anything like that. We just want to make fun games. So, that's one way that we stand apart. Another way is that, um, I really hope for our build mechanic in PvP to be something that people really have a lot of fun with. Um, it's something that I'm really excited to try out against a lot of you guys, and see how you guys use it in ways that I don't expect. I think that that's something, I haven't really seen it done in the same way that we're trying to do it. So, hopefully that's one way that makes us stand out. Last question. Oh, I see people dropped another one. Okay, so can you share about the roadmap? I went over it already, so I'll just run through it real quick. So we're beginning some marketing right now, kind of quiet, kind of just talking to people, kind of starting a dialogue. We don't have a lot of marketing spend or anything. We're not going to go hard on that right now, and it doesn't make sense to. Launch of the first story mode level, get the NFT out, get people earning XP, begin kind of expanding on marketing, you know, start taking a lot of feedback about the game. First level um, is going to be where people get to try the mechanics, and we'll make adjustments already, right? We'll launch the second story mode level, but at the same time, this whole time we're working on PvP so we can get the casual PvP mode out. We're launching with casual first so that people have the opportunity to test things, make sure everything works properly, make sure that we can ban cheaters so that we can end up launching wagering so that people can kind of, have fun betting their own money on their skills or on other people's skills. From there, we're going to be spending a lot more time, I think, on marketing, kind of letting people play the game for a bit, developing more content, developing more content ideas. And something we want to get nailed down at that point is probably the first bit of governance so that people can kind of start having an impact on the shape of the game and the development of the game. That's all I'll share on that for right now. And this is the last question that has been written. Will there be any PvE implements where you can co-op with others? Yes. So that will be something that comes, I think, shortly after casual PvP. So we'll enable co-op. And then we have some really cool, not like a campaign, but like PvE modes that we've come up with that once competitive PvP comes out and, once it's really solid, then, we might be able to start working on those. Let me check the AMA chat. Okay, no. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. If you guys have more questions right now, feel free to drop them. But I can also unmute you guys and we could talk in here. Okay, will there be some sort of talent tree like in WoW? We don't want to have that in PvP. That might be something that we end up exploring in the future in some PvE mode or story mode. But for right now, we don't really have any plans to do so. Will there be a way to get OG or get whitelist for investing? So since we're here, actually, let me reiterate something for you guys that just joined recently. So OG was meant to be guaranteed whitelist for the NFT in February. But because, we had so many farmers join, so many people, about 3,500 join in the first day, that's a lot. That's a lot more than we were expecting. So we have this idea to cull some of those out, um, kind of by verifying that you are a real person by linking your Twitter. That will be something that will happen in the next week. Not sure which day. We're finishing up like the Discord bot that will allow you to do that. There's some criteria as well. You must follow Gyre. Your account must have existed for 6 months, so we know you didn't just create it. And you must post a tweet about Gyre. So, this kind of allows us to use the unexpectedly large audience to our advantage to kind of, you know, help us get some marketing out with zero spend. But at the same time, we verify that you guys are real people who actually are interested in Gyre and aren't just farming so you can, quick flip and dump, right? You're here for the long run and you're actually going to play the game. Let me see if there's any questions elsewhere. JPEG, you can DM me. My DMs are open. Yeah, if you guys have more questions, definitely drop them in AMA questions. And if you guys want to talk in here, that's fine too. I can unmute you. Just ping me. All right. I think that's it for right now, right? Um, let me know real quick if anyone wants to ask another question. If not, I'm gonna wrap up right now. I'm sure we all have lots of plans to attend to for New Year's right now. I'm actually not doing much. I'm gonna go out for a little bit and then be home early. I've got work tomorrow in the morning. All right. Thank you guys for a lot of great questions. Um, oh, Alan, do you want to say something?
No, I just started to unmute myself, but go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, thank you guys for dropping in. A lot of these questions were great. I'm planning to do AMA sessions pretty frequently. I think the next one we'll do in Twitter Spaces, so we can kind of bring in more outside people. Um, I think we might alternate maybe. Some for us in here. I think Discord is a bit more intimate, whereas Twitter I think brings in a lot more outside people, which is great. They both do different things. Um, Probably, something like once a month or twice a month is what I expect. Neowin, I see you typing something. Do you have a question? The backer. What do you mean by the backer? Oh, okay, so you mean the investors. We don't have any investors. We won first place in the Beam Hackathon, which got us some seed funding from Merit Circle. So I guess technically there are investors. Um, for that we won 50 grand, and it kind of it trickles out once we reach certain criteria. So when we actually do the launch of the gold token on Beam mainnet in February or March, then we actually get some more of the seed funding unlocked. But yeah, for right now, we don't have any investors in the sense that I guess most people would think of, right? Um, when we launch the NFT, I don't want to say that's like investing, because it's not really. You're getting a product that you're paying for, but that's where we get our funding from, is just actually running the game, selling things, just like any other business. We're not backed by Paradigm or some other studio or sorry fund that is going to be asking us to do heinous things to you guys with our tokens. All right. I feel like that was the last question. Oh, I see Flings is typing an AMA question, so this is probably the last question. Hey, can you guys tell me how my mic was? How did everything sound? Crystal
Yeah, it
clear.
was good.
Web. Good? Okay.
Yeah, it was perfect.
Okay. See JPEG typing. I see Flings typing. Nice. Thanks, Lollipop. Glad to hear it. Yeah, I think the AMAs will be better to listen to once I get used to doing them too. It was kind of new for me actually. Um, just kind of talking to a computer. I think maybe the next one I'll enable the audio from everyone. So, or I'll figure something out because I do want to be able to actually get to talk to you guys. So just reading out questions, right? Oh yeah. Okay. Good question from Flings. So what platform will the game run on initially? So to start with, it's just going to be on the web, and that's because that's the easiest way for us to integrate crypto. But then the plans next are to do a standalone client, so you can download it and just run it on your computer, and then shortly after that, or maybe not shortly. I don't want to say shortly because I think it'll take a little bit of reworking to get this right for mobile, but we do intend to do mobile. So web, standalone client, and mobile. Mobile, I think, will take a bit because different app stores have different criteria and different rules around crypto. So there will be things in the game that we need to take out or change for mobile to work. I think the obvious one is that wagering is going to be impacted. Like I really expect that there's not going to be an easy way for you guys to wager if you're playing on mobile, but you know I expect that that's a whole different audience from you guys anyway, so I don't know. But yeah, thanks so much to everyone that dropped in. It started slow. I actually didn't expect as much interest as we've had in Gyre so far at all, because we haven't done any marketing at all. It's just been kind of word of mouth and people talking about the prospect of what Gyre is. So definitely grateful for all you guys, and happy New Year's. Hey Ninja, what's up? Okay. It's 2:05. Okay, yeah, that was about an hour. Nice. I think that's a good length for AMAs in the future. Um, I'm gonna get the audio all fixed up and then post this somewhere. Damn. Yeah, enjoy your New Year's, JPEG. Thanks for coming in. Seriously. All right. Thank you guys so much. I'm gonna get off right now. Clean up the audio and then get this posted so other people can take a listen later. Cheers, guys.
Happy New Year, guys. Thank you.